Okay, we're recording. We're live. Welcome. Episode number 4 on Love, Peace, Oolichan, Greece. I'm joined by Trevor Jang. Trevor, maybe a little brief introduction of yourself, where you're from, what
awesome,
you do.
Man. Thanks, Keith. Thanks for having me. My name's Trevor Jang. Come from the Wet'suwet'en Nation on my mom's side in the Smithers area. That's where I've been doing COVID lockdown in Smithers for the past 3 months or so. Also part Chinese on my father's side. I'm a writer. I'm a digital marketer. I'm an entrepreneur. Typically based out of Vancouver, but long-standing ties up here to northern BC as well. And used to work at CFNR'r, and it's always awesome to be back.
You're Chinese?
Yeah, you didn't know?
Just kidding. So how have you been holding up the past couple months? Because it's been obviously a strange time for everyone.
Yeah, it feels like, I said this at the start of hibernation, or the start of COVID. I said it feels like I'm a bear going into hibernation. Mm-hmm. It feels like I'm going back to my parents' place where I hadn't been for an extended period of time for 5-6 years, and I just kind of nestled down. And I've just been laying low and reflecting and doing a lot of personal work, reading a lot of personal development books, doing a lot of meditative type yoga, focusing on my business, playing with my dogs, just keeping it as calm and mellow, but also as productive as possible.
Yeah, that's like a general theme, is trying to still be productive, because I, for one, thoroughly enjoyed just chilling at home with the whole family. It's been super nice. But Trev, we're coming up. I want to start the conversation up with something saucy. We're coming up. It's the 1-year anniversary of the Toronto Raptors winning the NBA title, which was a big moment for yourself and myself, lifelong Toronto Raptors fans and basketball fans as a whole. So it was a big moment. And it's, obviously the season is, it's going to start up pretty soon, but I don't know, there's going to be a negative connotation no matter who wins the title.
I'll tell you what, this is the strangest title defense in NBA history, mm-hmm. Which is appropriate for the Raptors.
That's true.
So I went to, Game 5 of the NBA Finals landed on my birthday last year. So I actually was like, screw it. This is potentially, hopefully not, but potentially a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And Game 5, which was a deciding game, unfortunately, we didn't win it, but it was close. So the championship was on the line, and I had a chance to be there on my birthday. So I said, screw it. I took some vacation time, flew across the country from Vancouver to Toronto. Our tickets were $5,000 each. We were in row 20 rows back from Drake. I could actually see Drake dancing up and down. He wasn't that far away. But man, being at Air Canada Centre, it's still ACC to me.
Yeah.
Being at Air Canada Centre with 24,000 people singing "Oh Canada," that to me gave me a sense of national pride that I have never felt before. Because being Indigenous, you always have this kind of weird kind of relationship to Canada and the national anthem. Mm-hmm. But being in that moment, oh man, I've never felt national pride or unity like that before. And then being in the game was outstanding when Kawhi Leonard went on an 8-0 run by himself and the Raptors went up by 6 points with 3 minutes left. I thought we had it, and I have never been that excited when I thought we had it. Unfortunately, Steph hit a 3, Clay hit a 3, they hit another 3, and then that was that, and it went into Game 6. And I did not get to dance in the streets in Toronto on my birthday, but it's still a once-in-a-lifetime memory that I'm going to cherish for the rest of my life.
I know, I was actually pretty choked that you got to go. I was not choked, but I was just I was envious. Right. And I'm happy for you at the same time, because I get to brag about you going and being there. But, we got it in 6 games, and it's history, but we got the NBA season coming up, and I think, LeBron's a favorite, and the Lakers are a favorite to win or at least make it there. And then in the East, it's probably Milwaukee or Toronto.
Probably Milwaukee. I wouldn't put it past Boston to go on a bit of a run. I wouldn't be surprised if the Raptors lost to Boston in the second round. So hopefully the Raptors can hang on to the 2 seed. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to risk playing Miami or Philly in the first round. If you go up against the injured Nets or Orlando again or whoever. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I could see the Raptors possibly making it back to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't see them beating Milwaukee without Kawhi this year, unfortunately. But this year, the season was to me, it was actually almost more fun than the championship run because the style of play was so much more fluid this year without a, an undisputable number one option. I know Siakam's the best offensive player, but the ball movement was just so much more on point this year. So many other guys are having career years. Fred VanVleet, bet on yourself. He's having a career year. Norm Powell.
Finally, Norm Powell.
Averaging 17 points per game off the bench, was in the running for sixth man of the year. Like, he was just shooting lights out, 40+% from three. Kyle Lowry aging gracefully and defying father time. And I mean, Siakam and Ibaka and like all these guys. I just love the team so much. And I'm excited to see playoff basketball again, even if it's going to be this kind of weird environment to watch it with no fans. But hey, you gotta take what we can get.
I mean, I'm fine. I go to rec league basketball games when it's a good matchup here in Terrace. And I know there's some good basketball players out there. I just go and I watch and enjoy. And there's no fans. And I think it's going to be fine. I mean, we're going to get to see the greatest players in the world compete at the highest level. And now the Raptors are going to be injury-free. I mean, Fred VanVleet went down for a long period of time this season. So did Marc Gasol. He was out. Serge Ibaka was out for such a long time. Kyle Lowry was out. Like, all of our guys were going down, and we were still managed to be number 2 in the East, which is huge.
What do we have, like a 16-win streak?
I think so.
16 or 17? I know it was a Raptors franchise record. I can't remember. 16 or 17.
And I mean, that's after losing Kawhi
After losing
Leonard.
Kawhi and Danny Green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
like how that just shows like the expertise and just the total leadership from the Raptors executive with Masai Ujiri and just the organizational culture of winning, that you can win a championship, lose the finals MVP and another starter, lose your 2 wings during the summer, and then still come back and be a number 2 seed.
Oh man, it's going to be super, super exciting. Now, another thing I want to talk to you about is All Native. We've missed you for a couple of years now.
I've been back to All Native since I got punched in the face.
I didn't think you were going to bring it up.
Oh, we could bring it.
All right.
This was
sick, dude.
It was 2017. It was 2017. I went back to All Native since 2017, and my jaw still ain't right.
Yep.
I got sucker punched by a guy who was like, look at me, I'm 150 pounds, and I got sucker punched by a guy who's bigger than Kiefer.
Bigger than me, man, and not like fat big. He was just like a muscular dude. You and the homie Joel Young got punched in the face. That was awesome. Oh, one of my favorite memories from All Native. Aside from the great games.
I'm glad I could bestow upon you such a fond memory. I still go to physio for my jaw.
Oh my God. Well, that's unfortunate.
Anyway, so I haven't been back to All Native since then. But eventually I do want to come back when my jaw's feeling good and I put on some weight.
Yeah. And not get punched in the face. I mean, just duck next time. No, it was a complete sucker punch.
I've been punched in the face maybe 3 or 4 times my entire life. Every single time it is following Dancing with a Girl.
Yeah.
Every single time.
You know what? Dancing is dangerous. That's all there is to it. It's a dangerous pastime.
And nightclubs, you can never have these conversations like, is any guy going to punch me in the face for dancing with you? It's hard to have that conversation beforehand.
Yeah, it never comes up. It honestly,
until after.
Until
it's too late.
Until you've been punched in the jaw.
Hey, let it be proof that I can take a hit, though.
You took that. You ate it, dude. And you didn't go down. You staggered a bit, but you didn't go down. That was awesome. Oh, what a good memory. But we definitely need to have you back for that.
I miss the All Native. I love the All Native.
Oh, and just even bringing up that story, it's just so much more than basketball. You get to, see a lot of new faces and new talent. I mean, the level of basketball just even in the past 2 years, Trev, has like stepped up. I mean, the return of Jesse Barnes. I think you were there for when Damon Bell-Holter was there?
No.
So you weren't there for them. But I mean, just like we're starting to see high flying dunks in games and even in the intermediate division with like Marlon Edgar Apps and Kobe McKnight. Now I know these guys are probably going to be, involved in post-secondary teams, university teams, college teams, and we're going to lose a lot of them. But eventually, they're going to come back to the senior division and wreak havoc. It's going to be like the level. And I don't even know if we're going to get to have an All Native this next year.
Yeah, I mean...
Or what it's going to look like.
I'm glad that All Native was able to happen this year. It seemed like it was in the nick of time.
Just the nick of time.
Just the nick of time.
Because Junior All Native got canceled.
Yeah, I mean, it has to. You can't bring everybody together like that.
No.
Safety first for sure. But yeah, I'd say right now it's probably 50-50 if All Native happens next year, which would be, brutal. We look forward to it, but the players and the villages and the fans and the aunts and uncles and grandparents, you prep and train and get antsy for it all year. But, we're in strange times.
I know. I actually got to play in the All Native this past year. Did you see that?
Yeah, you've been talking about your 7-year plan to play Masters.
Yeah, I know. I had to jump in the senior division with these animals, man. Everyone's like in shape. And yeah, we only had like 3 days notice to play though. So we obviously weren't prepared.
I am... So I played basketball every year at high school. I never played in the All Native, unfortunately. Wet'suwet'en have never put in a team. But I haven't been able to play because of my medical condition.
That's right. Let's talk a little bit about that. What's been going on with that?
So January 2019, I was diagnosed with a rare medical disease, basically medical condition that's very poorly understood by doctors even. It's called Complex Regional Pain Syndrome, CRPS, as it's known. And we don't know too much about it, but it causes a malfunction of the peripheral nervous system. So it's basically the brain is sending the wrong messages through the nervous system to a body part and telling it that it's in danger when it's not. So for me, it impacted my right hand. So just out of the blue, completely out of the blue, I was at work one day, I was on the computer typing, and then I got this shooting pain coming up into my right thumb and wrist. And it felt like a knife was like digging into my hand, but from the inside out. It was like nerves on fire. It's like, what is going on? And it took, 3 or 4 doctor's appointments, ruling out other things like arthritis or wrist tendonitis. And eventually, I saw a pain specialist in Vancouver. Something I never heard of, CRPS, but it's like taken over my life since then.
So, how do you even go about being diagnosed with that for something they don't even know, and how do you isolate that issue?
It's basically, you get diagnosed by ruling everything else out.
Yeah.
Is basically what it was, and then you begin the long process of rehab and recovery. So I will say, I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason, and I'm a big believer that I got ancestors or spirits or the great unknown looking out for me sometimes. I truly believe that because I'm super lucky. I got a mild case and I was diagnosed early. I'm part of the CRPS Facebook group, and some people, they're in intense, excruciating pain every day for the rest of their life.
Wow.
Because they didn't get diagnosed early enough.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I got diagnosed. I saw a doctor who knew enough about it to recognize it and refer me to a specialist. And I went to the Canadian Pain and Regenerative Institute in Vancouver, and they got me situated with the medication I need. But they opened 2 weeks after I first got the onset.
Really?
So I was one of their first patients. And the only reason I got in so quickly was because they were brand new. If I had waited, if this had come 3 months later, I would have had to wait like 3 months to get the same treatment.
Wow.
And it might have completely altered the path of my recovery, and I might have been, knock on wood, disabled for life.
Oof.
But because of the timing of everything, I was able to get the treatment and the medication, and luckily it's been working out, and I've restored function. Now I'm working on strength. But what I will say is the one silver lining of getting something like this is it makes you appreciate your health so much more. Like growing up, I was always an athlete. I had good genes that way. I was always in shape naturally, fast metabolism, all that. So I never even really thought about my health, and I took it for granted. But when your body stops working on you, when you feel scared in your own body because you don't know if your nerves are going to flare up out of nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
You begin to take for granted things like your mind connecting with your body in a way that it's supposed to, your nervous system being okay. And so now I express gratitude on a daily basis for the basic functions of my body.
Yeah.
And I think I've improved my relationship to myself through my physical healing journey because mindset has been such a big part of it.
Yeah, and it's been a long road because I remember we did Junior All Native together in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And you were having issues with it then. And I don't know how many years ago that was, at least 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah, I've been dealing with chronic pain for about 4 years now in various types. And I've come to this place now where I'm getting stronger. I'm jogging like 4K every second day now, doing lightweight training, yoga once a week, swimming pre-COVID. I was going to the pool every night. So I'm coming up to a good place.
Swimming's got to be great for you.
Yeah,
you like work everything out, right? I wanted to get into swimming because it's like it's the only place I feel light.
And my mom got me a Fitbit too for my birthday.
Oh,
so,
I've been big. I used to be huge into the Fitbit. I got an Apple Watch. Shout out to Apple, sponsor me. And it's got all the same thing as a Fitbit, but it can connect to my iPhone and it unlocks my MacBook and whatever. But Fitbits, I'm all for it. I actually got plantar fasciitis when I first got my Fitbit diagnosed. It was bad. I couldn't even walk because I was using my old sneakers to walk. And I was like, I went for a stretch there. I was like going over like 12 kilometers a day just to beat people in like the work week hustle, the work week hustle, right? Yeah. So I was like grinding, and then like people would like load up their stuff and I see, someone has 2,000 more steps than me. So I'm like, I got to go bust out another 7,000 steps right now. Like, so I would literally leave what I was doing and I would go for a walk and a jog or a run or whatever. And then my feet got into such bad shape that it actually like deterred me from walking for so long. And they were like, you're going to have to like shoot like steroids or something into the bottom of your feet to break up the scar tissue. And we're getting x-rays. And I'm just like, no, that ain't happening. There's got to be something. So they gave me like all these different exercises that I could do. Yeah. And I had to get new shoes and it was crazy. So, but it's gone now and I can walk just fine. But I get what you mean. I had no idea what that was. And finally it was like, and it was so bad at night too. Obviously not as into the level of that you're going into, but you definitely do appreciate like your body a lot more once you.
It's true. And it's really made me understand on a more deep level, like the connection between like mind, body, spirit, and how trauma can manifest physically. Because we don't know the root cause of my chronic pain. Like from a medical perspective, they don't know how it started, and we probably never will. So that's just kind of left me to come up with my own kind of psycho-spiritual analysis of it. And, my mind just naturally goes to, it must be like childhood trauma or intergenerational trauma, ancestral trauma that has manifested and is literally pouring out of me and showing up as physical pain and forcing me to look at it and examine it. I've done a lot of healing over the past year since this whole thing has happened. I saw an Indigenous medicine woman at a health clinic in Vancouver. She's from the Tsleil-Waututh Nation, and she did a lot of different practices with me that got me to kind of explore my physical pain from a spiritual perspective and try to apply some abstract meaning to it. And we think we are able to associate different adverse childhood experiences with different physical pain that I've experienced, and then we go into that physical or that childhood pain, emotional pain, and be with it and try and heal it and let it go. And I've actually noticed the physical difference as we've gone through, the kind of psycho-spiritual work. So I'm at this place now where I feel stronger physically, I feel stronger mentally, I feel like I'm much more aware and in check of like my emotions and kind of my shadow side. And it feels good, man. I just feel ready. I'm in a place now in life. I just turned 28. Getting a little older, getting close to 30. I feel like I'm hitting my stride in terms of like life, business, and I'm just looking forward to the rest of my life as opposed to just trying to manage painful symptoms.
Yeah, because that must have been like some like just thinking, am I ever going to be able to use my hand again? Those thoughts got to mess with you, man.
They definitely mess with you, like. And it made me appreciate, people who are in a wheelchair, and that and what that must do to their perspective on life. Just the fact that I almost lost the use of my hand for life. It was scary, but it makes you face fear in a different way, and that kind of metal feeling you get at the back of your throat when you're feeling like real kind of primal fear, like fear of like mutilation. It gives you an awareness of fear when it does pop up in other situations. We are able to handle it a little bit more effectively. So I feel like all these challenges, both like childhood trauma and physical pain as an adult, It's given me a stronger mindset, and I find now that I'm able to handle stress better and just act more effectively and confidently in whatever it is I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually probably a pretty good segue into the creative writing and the different aspect of your businesses that you've been working on, because you are a creative writer and you've always created. I had a conversation with Eden Robinson, and it kind of tripped me out while we were talking that, she has all of her novels and her books, and she created Monkey Beach. Mm-hmm. And now Monkey Beach is going to be, it's like a huge movie now, and the release date isn't out yet, but it's going to be coming soon. But that all came from her thought. You know what I mean? It's created from her thought, and the trickle-down effect of Indigenous jobs has been immense from that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the potential for, we need more Indigenous writers, we need more creators, because that's going to create more jobs in the future for Indigenous people. So, I know, so that's a little off topic from what you're doing, and that's not to put pressure on you, Trev, but make a movie already, because I want to be in it. So, what do you got going on creatively, and, keeping up with your writing? Because I know you went to Banff for different things, and you've been a journalist, and you've dipped into writing in so many different avenues. What is your focus on right now?
So I mean, the bulk of my kind of adult career, whatever, has been as a journalist, and that's it's how I made a name for myself. It's how I got a bit of notoriety. It's how I really kind of harnessed my skill as a storyteller and as a writer. But eventually I kind of got to the point where, so I mean, as a journalist, I wrote a lot about Indigenous issues. That was kind of my niche and what I did. I felt more authentically and deeper than a lot of mainstream journalists were doing at the time. So took a lot of pride in diving deep into Indigenous rights and land rights issues over pipelines and stuff like that. But it got to the point where I didn't really feel like it was making much of a difference. And I wanted to, make more money. I value money.
Put as we all do. Looking for sponsors on the podcast. Shout out.
So I value money, and you can't make too much money in journalism. But the other thing is, I didn't really feel like the journalism was making the kind of difference, the social impact and community that I wanted it to. And so I'm as I move forward in my career, I find myself kind of in the middle ground between kind of my two lineages. So on the Wet'suwet'en side, I come from a long line of hereditary chiefs and political activists and people, who fought the government in court and on the land over land rights, and have done a lot for Indigenous people across Canada. On the Chinese side, I come from a line of entrepreneurs and immigrant hustle. And, my grandpa came to Canada from China with nothing, got a job washing cars, and then ended up the top car salesman at the dealership. So I've got that kind of immigrant hustle side too. So for me, as I move forward and as I've left journalism, I've left it with the mindset that I want to make money so that it enables me to, one, bring security to myself and to my family, but also to create a bigger social impact in my community. That's my dream, is to be able to build myself up as a business person, to get to the point, however long it takes me, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, doesn't matter, but to the point where I have enough money, power, and influence to really make a difference in our community, as in whatever quote unquote role model or inspiration or whatever. If people see what I'm doing and that inspires them to pursue different things, that'd be great, but also to have the means to actually jump in and make a direct impact myself. So I've transitioned out of journalism into something called copywriting. So I have my own business. I'm a freelance sales copywriter. There's different names for it: conversions copywriting, direct response copywriting, sales copywriting. Basically, it's writing that helps online businesses make more money online, or any business make more money online. So I've spent the past 6 months or so doing intense mentorships on this and some courses. And I feel confident now where I can look at any company's website and figure out a way to make them more money. So I'm entering the space of digital marketing and making money online. And I believe that it is an avenue that more Indigenous people need to get into.
No. They have to get into it, or you're kind of going to get left behind. like Amazon for a while there kind of took over my life. I'm just ordering everything on Amazon, from Diet Coke to coffee grounds. You know what I mean? Like stuff that I would usually just go to the store for, or, you know, the Thornhill Meat Market or somewhere. So we need to adapt and evolve with the situation. So we need someone who's going in and doing this with these businesses. And I see the application could fit for almost anybody, because we're all trying to sell.
Any business,
everyone's trying to sell something no matter what you're doing. Like, you know, we're here at CFNR, we're trying to sell radio, we're trying to sell, you know, ads. Like, so there's definitely an avenue for it for everywhere. But it brings up the key, like, we need to start doing it more. And there's, like, as a First Nations person, I'm so far behind the curve on all of that. And I'm trying to have my own business as well with the hot dog stand and that come eventually. And I've never actually sought out a speaking engagement. I've never once said I wanted to MC an event or anything. I always kind of just get picked up. So eventually I want to move into doing that. And I mean, when I got Trevor at a cheap rate, and I recommend him for you guys. Just kidding. But yeah, no, that's crazy that's awesome. And, you know, like, how do people find out more information about, like, to get a hold of you to talk to you about that?
Yeah, I mean, if you have, if you're an entrepreneur, or if you're an online business owner, and you want to find ways to make more money online, or to better optimize your website or your social media presence, or just your overall message that you're giving out to the public, then yeah, you can hit me up, trevorjang.com. You can see my services and how to get in touch with me. We can book a call and see if I can help you out. Because what I've noticed is that for a lot of business owners, they don't know how to effectively write about their own business. Oftentimes, as a business owner, you are too close to your product or service. You know it too intimately. And so you can't really convey it in a way that resonates with your ideal customer. You're too much of an expert. You know, you're too much in the weeds of it. So that's what a copywriter does, is I would work with you to figure out what you're really trying to say, and I find a way to best articulate that to your target market.
Wow. Yeah, it's definitely a valuable resource to have and to try to get going.
Yeah. Like what I will say is like so Indigenous people represent just 1% of Canada's digital economy, which is crazy.
Yikes.
Like this is like millions and millions and millions of dollars that we're missing out on. And so
not the first time we missed out on millions and millions of dollars.
Exactly. But I mean, this is, so I know a lot of, in the make money online space and in affiliate marketing, I know a lot of high level affiliate marketers who do like 5 or 6 figures a month in online sales, like high level people, the kind of people who you see pop up on Facebook and Google ads where they're talking about making money online and that lifestyle marketing. I know a lot of these people. And the thing is, they're all white. They are all white people, and nothing against them. Like, I got a lot of respect for them. They're very inspirational. I know a lot of them personally, and they're amazing people. But where's the color? Where's the flavor? Where's the spice? Where's the fried rice, Kiefer?
Oh, I can't
Where's
say
the
that.
Indian tacos?
There we go.
Yeah.
I could say Indian.
Nowhere to be found. So I really feel it's important. Yeah, I want to make money, but yeah, I want to show what's possible getting into this type of work. Digital marketing, making money online, taking your skill sets that were learned in a different time period, a different era, and translating that into the digital age and finding a way to be productive and be a problem solver for people. So get into it. I used to work at the First Nations Technology Council. They provide fully funded courses for any Indigenous person that wants to explore a career in tech. That's one avenue, but just get into it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, you know, you kind of talked about the diversity there, which I want to, like, change the subject to is, you know, obviously you're mixed blood with Wet'suwet'en, Chinese, French, and then there's probably some other
Bonjour.
stuff. Some Italian, maybe. I don't know what you are.
I wish. I've got the most Canadian family ever. So I'm Chinese native and French, and I have cousins who are Chinese, French, Punjabi.
Huh.
And I also have cousins who are Chinese, French, Italian.
Really?
Yeah. So we got all our bases covered.
I just got native cousins. My white side of my family, I don't even have any cousins. I don't even know them.
But anyway, diversity. Yeah.
Diversity. Anyways, I'm half white, I'm half native, you're half Chinese, half native. And I talked to this a bit about Patrick Shannon. Shout out Pat Shan. Trev, you know Patrick.
Evil Pat.
Yeah. We talked about identity and owning our own identity. And, as a half breed, just speaking from my own personal experiences, it's really tough to own that and to own not being full native, because there's the stigma out there that if you're not full native, especially in the First Nations community, that you're less than them. Yeah. Have you come across that type of feeling? I mean, I'm just going to say it. You look Chinese.
I do.
You look like a Chinese dude.
I do.
A handsome Chinese dude.
I do. I look like I'm very good at math. Which
You're not good at math?
Here's the thing. I'm not good at math, and I'm an excellent driver.
Oh.
There you go. I'm breaking stereotypes.
There we go. We got it on record.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever driven me anywhere.
I'll drive you. You'll see how good of how safe and confident of a driver.
Have you ever been in a car accident?
Knock on wood, but not yet.
That's kind of a weird question to ask, dude. I've never been in a car accident either. This is some fake wood, too.
Yeah. But the identity thing...
because there's so many people who struggle with it now, because everyone's so mixed up now. It's almost, it's super rare to find someone who's 100%.
Yeah. Well,
and it's going to get even more rare.
Well, it's like, we could look at it two ways. There's the Indigenous prophecy called the Rainbow Prophecy, where eventually the human race will just be so intermingled that we will just be one race. And Russell Peters, back in the day, said something similar too. Like, the two biggest populations in the world are Chinese and East Indian. So what did he say? He's like, you can run from us now, but eventually we're going to hump you.
Shout out to Russell. Yeah, I mean, you just see the diversity going on, here in Terrace and everywhere. It's such a different mentality, but your identity somewhat guides you through life and the decisions that you make. Like, I wouldn't have the job that I have today if I wasn't half First Nations. You know what I mean?
Right.
That part of identity, and it just kind of owned me. And I never used to have tattoos, and that kind of helps me with my own identity, is having these tattoos, and it's somewhat of a constant reminder of who I am and what I want to be. So it's just like, it's so strange to navigate through it.
It's true. With all I've been thinking about this lately, just with all, the Black Lives Matter stuff going on in the States, and just the intense, tough conversations we're having about race right now.
Oh, there's huge, tough ones.
And I've kind of stayed quiet on the Black Lives Matter thing, just because mainly I just want to be a listener, and I just want to listen to Black voices, Black perspectives, read Black writers. I'd rather just listen, because, so from my own perspective, like, I look more Chinese than I do native. I've experienced racism, sure. I've been called a chink, growing up in Smithers. I've had rednecks pick fights with me just for the sole reason of, I'd be like, why do you want to fight? And they'd be like, 'cause you're Asian. Like, I've gotten that, but I haven't been racially profiled like Indigenous people have, where you get followed around in the mall by security because they're expecting you to shoplift. Like, I haven't had to deal with, because I don't exactly look Indigenous, I haven't had to deal with the racialized hate, basically, with the hate and the ignorance that a lot of our people experience. So I've dealt with racism, but I haven't dealt with it as badly as a lot of Indigenous people have. And with Black people in the States, like, my life has never been threatened because of my race, and by someone who I am supposed to trust, like an authority figure, like an RCMP officer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've just been looking at that and reflecting back on how race is so complex, and it creates a lot of challenges, but it's also, a lot easier for me than it is for a lot of other racialized people.
Yeah, you didn't get any of the racist remarks from coronavirus, because there was a lot of hate crimes happening, even here in Canada, especially in Vancouver, towards the Asian community, because of the coronavirus.
Yeah, it was even one of the newspapers in Vancouver, in their headline, I can't remember which one it was now, so I'm not going to guess, but they called it the China virus.
Yeah, because Trump was saying.
Yeah, and so that is so inappropriate and irresponsible to like from a newspaper to put that on the headline. But anyways, yeah, I mean, race is crazy, and it does, like what you talked about, how you wouldn't have gotten the job opportunities that you have gotten if you weren't Native. Same with me. You know, I think there is a certain amount of privilege that comes with being Native in an era of reconciliation.
Mm-hmm.
We get a lot of opportunities. We get easier access to opportunities than if we weren't Indigenous.
Mm-hmm.
But I always have to remind people that we only get them because of historical wrongs. And so our generation and the generations to come have to utilize these opportunities that are there in the spirit of reconciliation in order to elevate the well-being of our people and our communities and our families, to rectify all the damage that's been done. And that's kind of what I was getting back to in terms of my inspiration behind wanting to become an entrepreneur is, so I got like that strive for self-determination in my bloodline, like the Delgamuukw Gistayaway court case. My lineage comes from that. The Wet'suwet'en were participating in that. My grandpa and great-grandpa were part of that. So the strive for Indigenous self-determination to be sovereign Indigenous people within a colonial state, like that's in my blood, that's in my core, that's a big part of why I do a lot of what I do as a writer and now as an entrepreneur. But we can't expect that to come from the outside. Like, I don't think freedom or self-determination or sovereignty of our traditional governance structures, that's never going to come from Canada or from BC or from the RCMP, or it's never going to come from these outside entities doing better. It's going to come from us getting stronger internally. Mm-hmm. And so I believe entrepreneurship is one avenue to explore to create self-determination at an individual level, because there's nothing more self-determining than being an entrepreneur and having to be responsible for generating your own income, which is something that I'm getting used to. And it's definitely, it has its ups and downs and its challenges, but once you figure it out, is the most freeing feeling in the world.
It's got to be.
And it is one small part of rebuilding our communities.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Now, there was a lot of valid points in there, but my son, just a little off topic,
Cash Money Collison.
Yeah, Cash Money, Young Money as I like to call him. He's Haida, he's Tsimshian, and he's Gitxsan. Mm-hmm. So he's 3 different nations, and you know, I always just like, I don't know why, but I always just envision him just being Haida, but he's not. He comes from a very strong, Tsimshian and Gitxsan family. But I almost wish that arranged marriages were back, because I'd love to arrange a marriage with the Haisla Niska woman in the future. Then he would have 5. There would be 5.
Cover all the territories. You'd have a lot of hunting grounds.
So, yeah, hunting grounds. My grandchildren could play for almost any basketball team that they wanted to play for at the all-native.
No Josiah Wilson issues coming up here.
None of that. So that would be sick. But, he can fall in love with whomever he wants to fall in love with. But if there are any Haisla Niska babies out there who are of the same age as my son, let's talk.
So my mom has always jokingly said that she wants me to have a baby with a black woman, because I am Chinese, Native, and white.
Wow.
So that's red, yellow, and white. So if I get black, then my kid will be a medicine wheel baby.
The medicine wheel baby. I'm sure there are medicine wheel babies out there. There gotta be.
You would think so? Chinese, Indigenous, white, and black? That's pretty mixed.
That's like maybe we're the generation to have those babies.
Yeah.
So it's on you.
So it's on me. So if I have a baby with a black woman, I will make a rainbow child, a medicine wheel baby.
Man.
I will have
have such a rare opportunity.
I will have fulfilled the rainbow prophecy.
Wow.
Created a new breed of humans to bring us into the future. A
super breed.
I will create a rainbow child.
I can't wait till you have kids, Trev.
God, that's going to be... Can you imagine me with a kid?
I could. Why not?
I make dad jokes a lot.
Yeah.
I make a lot of dad jokes.
Man, I have been ramping it up hard with the dad jokes.
You got to when you're actually...
yeah. It's just been... They've been coming steady.
What do you call somebody with no body and a nose? Nobody knows!
Yeah, I was going to say... I knew the answer to that one. answer to that one. But no, it's definitely the greatest thing on earth. But no, it's just interesting.
Nobody knows.
Okay, I got one. What do you? Why can't a bicycle stand up?
Why?
Because it's too tired. Because it's got 2 tires. Get it? But no, it's been awesome having you here on the podcast. I guarantee you're going to be back on the podcast again someday. And we've talked about a lot, and we're probably running near the end. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover or bring up?
Well, I've been in lockdown for like 3 months, and I'm single. So, I mean, that was challenging. So I am trying to get back into the dating game.
Tinder it up, man.
Tinder. So the thing about being on Tinder and Smithers is I actually get that blank GPS screen showing that there are no women in my vicinity. It's heartbroken.
That is heartbreaking. I haven't been on Tinder for quite some time, and I probably never will be again. So because I'm locked up. I'm locked up. I've locked her down. She ain't going nowhere. 18 years. She leaves me. I'm taking half of her stuff. She ain't getting half of mine. I'm getting half of hers. So there's the incentive.
Jericho's so lucky to have you.
Yeah, she's extremely lucky, and she knows this. She knows this. Everybody listening who knows me is like, oh God, shut up.
No, I mean, it's always awesome to be back in Terrace. I worked here at CFNR for 2 years. It was a big part of my life and growth, professionally and just as a human being. I was like 19 when I started here. Yeah. Left when I was 21. I was really kind of, those are important years when you're growing up. And now, I guess my last point that I'll make, so I just turned 28. So, I mean, when after your birthday, you're always kind of reflecting on your age and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking it was 10 years ago that I was 18. I was suicidal. I got caught for drinking and driving. I was taken to the hospital twice that year for suicide scare. All this crazy stuff. I was abusing my sleeping pills. I was drinking way too much. So to think back to where I was in 2010 and how far I've come now, where I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur, award-winning journalist. Still, you're always going to battle stuff from childhood and mental and emotional stuff, but just looking at it in such a different way and seeing the shadow side of myself for what it is and embracing it and kind of integrating it with the kind of the light side of me and bringing my full self forward and immersing myself in my business and my goals and my dreams. And I'm just so excited for the next 10 years. And to think back 10 years ago from today, how I didn't even really want to be alive in 10 years. Mm-hmm. That mental, emotional shift that has happened over the past 10 years as I've kind of moved through my 20s has been unbelievable. And so I guess I've done a lot of speaking as well. And my message is always just to it's okay. It may seem bad. It may seem overwhelming. And you may not see how it's going to work out. But the biggest thing is just never losing that little bit of hope and faith that you keep in the back of your mind, because even when I was in the lowest of the low and wanting to kill myself or whatever and drinking every day, there was always that little tiny voice in the back of my head saying that one day things are going to be pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. If you just hold on. Yeah. And so I never stopped listening to that voice completely. I did for years and for stretches, but I always knew that I was going to come back to that voice. And now that voice inside me is kind of leading the charge. So just find that inner voice and stay strong. These are crazy times that we're in, but it's a transition for the entire world. That's what COVID is. It's a time to reflect like a bear in hibernation and to come out strong, ready to eat.
Definitely. Sometimes you just need to get punched in the face at All Native.